Hello, hello, everyone. It's a beautiful Thursday afternoon. Hopefully, you can avoid the rain. We give it a couple of seconds here to see how many people we get jumped on to this Facebook Live. But I'm Kym Anderson, and of course, we're here to talk about targeting the violence. We've had an uptick in youth violence in our community and across the nation. So here at NBC 15, what we are trying to do is we're trying to find ways to target that violence and reduce the amount of crime that's happening in our community, starting one kid at a time. And my guest today, this is a conversation you really want to hear. So tag your friends, tag your family, tag children, because we know a lot of them are on social media, and let's put something positive in their lives and positive with all these parents, because there is hope out there. We've got Mobile County Health Department, our outreach educators. We've got Mr. Ernest Scott here. We've got Mr. Harold Jones, and which is interesting, gentlemen, I didn't even know your departments existed until I heard Mr. Jones speak a couple of weeks ago at over at Blount High School to some of the children and the parents there. But you've got a parenting program, you've got a program for teenagers, which is really outstanding, and y'all are doing your thing to kind of help with targeting the violence as well. And let's start talking about what we call it's the Department Fathering Initiative.
That's correct, Kym. Like I said, we modeled the Mobile County Health Department out of the national program, which is started in 1995. And so Mobile has been in Mobile now for over 10 years. And we've been into the schools. We are working in the community with all our partners. And like I said, it's not a well-kept secret, but it's a secret to some. And with all the work we're doing, and definitely with Mr. Jones, his work with the school system, my working in the school system, working with the community correction, working with the police department, working with Department of Correction, Pardon and Parole, Family Haven, Salvation Army, all these entities out there that we're working with. So we've been out there, and we'll continue to work, and certainly our schools and our children, our families are our main goal, and that's what we're looking at.
And let's talk about, gentlemen, the importance that parenting has on kids, and actually the turnaround they have on the violence that we're seeing.
It's critical. It's critical. Over 20 years ago, I started with Mobile County Public Schools as a parent manager. And my goal was to bring the parents into the school, parental involvement. And after leaving there, my continued work with the church for over 35 years, it was all about community and all about parenting. Parents, the families is the cornerstone of our society. If that cornerstone fall, disintegrate, then what's going to happen? All the members of that family is going to disintegrate as well. So our target and all this crime that we have in our community today, we got to be, that's an underlying cause for. My dad used to tell me, he said, son, erosion doesn't happen all at once. It happens over a period of time. So this is something that's been gathering and gathering for a period of time. And so we need to really do what we need to do and put all the resources here. And I see Mobile, the city of Mobile, now in Mobile County, we're putting resources through the Mobile County Health Department with the Alabama Children's Trust Fund, which funds our program, and Mobile County Department of Health there. All this is going into, so we realize we have a problem. We have a problem, a serious problem. And it's not just about locking them up, throwing the key away, because if we do that, we see it now, Mr. Jones and I see it now through our fatherhood program, through the Department of Correction and Department of Pardon and Parole. These young men and young women are spending 10 and 15 years in prison and coming home and doing the same thing over again with their children. So we got to come up with a solution, a workable solution.
So the breakdown is, how can you make a parent be a parent? That's a lot of questions, because a lot of people say, you know what, we need more parental involvement, need more parental involvement, but how can you make a parent be a parent?
Well, one of the things I say is, back with the focus or mission of the Fatherhood Initiative, is about educating and equipping the, men and women to really be a greater caregiver and leader within the home and within the community. There has to be an admission of what does parenting look like? What is the role? When we go to a job, we have a position, we have a role, where the children never asked to be here. So what is the role of the men and women in front of that next generation? Are we So we gotta, a lot of times we deal with men and women, like you say, who have come out, they didn't have it in front of them, so it's a repeat behavior. So at some point, who begins to talk about and teach and educate and equip them that, they're still valuing you.
Right.
And once they can discover that and learn how to give that value back, being a reflection, an image of hope to their children, to the child that just may see me in the store, because that child is thinking about, we never know sometimes. They always want to fit in. They always want to be, okay, what's going on now? Because things shift and change. But do we equip them by telling them the testimony and the stories of where we've been and how to get past these things? Because we've experienced them too.
So honesty, just being honest with our kids.
Correct.
That's one main thing.
Right.
Spending time with them.
That,
What does that come in? How's that flow?
the key word is involvement. And that's one of the things we teach in our Fatherhood Initiative program about getting involved. Involved is going to the ballpark, going to the skating, going to the swimming pool, going, to rec with them. You got to get involved. If you're involved, then you know what that child is thinking. Then that child has a model. Then that child can bring up his child in that same model. So if you're not involved, you're just only involved now with the cell phone. Kids have so many distractions now. The computer, they have the cell phone, they have game, they got X game, they got M game, they got J, all this is out there. These things are distractions. So when you come in the home, that's a distraction. Okay, Jimmy, what are you doing today? Dad, I'm playing PP, whatever. Okay, let me challenge you with that. And so that's involvement. Then you go into your room, he's still playing on the game, so there's no involvement there. So we got to have involvement. Things have changed over the years. Parenting style has changed over the years. It changed from when my mother and father was parent. It has changed since I was, I'm a parent, but my children are adults now, and their style of parenting is different. So, but the underlying goal of parenting is still the same. The principle of parenting is still the same. The method of parenting has changed. How we once parenting, third grade education, seventh grade education. Now, parenting now is much more, there's a lot of distractions out there, Miss Anderson.
Trust me, I have 3 children, I know, but sometimes
a lot of distractions.
You think, should we go back to the old school? Because you know what? I'm going to be the first one to say, I still raise my children kind of old school. I need to know where you are at all times,
yes.
Who's your friends, bring them over to my house. There's a lot of restrictions that I have. They call me the mean mom.
Well, you know what they used to say, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
And like he said, the involvement, when we have that desire to get involved, we got to understand it's twofold. I'm educating or I'm being educated. And the reality, I can't just walk around and think, oh, I'm the big person, I'm the grown person, this and that. I got to really want to know what's going on with that child. Because I know that child feel the same emotions I feel. I've hurt before. I'll be angry. You may get depressed, this and that, because they have things going on in their life. But who do they have to talk about it? So within the home, that conversation can, initiate in the home. But again, the one of the things we talk about in the one of the modules of the fatherhood curriculum is communicating.
Right.
And it's amazing how sometimes, it's this I do what I want to do thing. And when everyone feel they can do whatever they want, then you'll see people doing this, doing that, and sooner or later it wraps around and that very thing has burnt you.
Right.
So what you desire. We desire to see our children prosper. We desire to see great things for them. But if I desire it and I don't get involved in helping it come and manifest, then am I doing, the best that I can be? And I think that's the question of the day. No one's perfect, but can I do better? Mm-hmm. So it's not a beat across the head. It's looking in the mirror and say, if I'm going to call myself a man, but can I do better? And what is the character of a man? Because this boy really just does not know that. This boy is curious and looking. So who will I let be in this child's ear and begin to really motivate them and educate them? So I got to take on part of that responsibility.
Correct.
Now you talk about motivating and educating, and it was something that I heard and saw today that was pretty interesting, but it's something that you talked about too, words. and encouragement and the difference it can make in a child's life when you talked at the school. But I was taking my daughter this morning to the dermatologist, and as we were walking up the stairs, there was a mother and her son walking behind them, and she actually said those words, and I turned around and looked at her. My daughter said, "Don't say anything." She was like, "Come on with your fat self, you just get on my nerves." I mean, and imagine how that felt to that little boy. You've got to watch the words that you say to your children.
Exactly.
Yeah. Though I was going to say, pick it back on what you were saying, my model is this about words are like an arrow. Once you put it in there, you put the arrow in the bow and release the arrow, there's no way of retrieving that arrow.
No,
The words are the same way. Words they can tear into you in such a way. And you say old school, you mentioned that word, old school parenting. And that's a model. And I had that experience, my mom and dad, it was always mama, it was always daddy. And my daughter came home one day playing with her friends, and she said, "Daddy," I said, "Yeah, daughter." She said, "What you?" She said, "Can I call you by your first name?" I said, "Why you want to call me?" When she heard my brothers and sisters saying, "Hey, Gary," "Hey, Ernest," says, "I want to call you like that." I said, "Why?" I said, "Because so is across the street. That's what she does to her mom and dad." I said, "Baby, listen to me." I said, "You have a privilege that no other girl in this world has." You know what they said? "What is that? The privilege to call me dad. Don't you ever give up calling me dad." And her birthday is tomorrow. She's 45 years old. First thing she holler out, "Hey, daddy." And that's old school parenting. We got to go back to the old school. It's not always about the mode of punishment, the method of punishment, the whipping. We got all those things, but there has to be some form of punishment. And I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have an X game, but I had something that really mattered to me, and that was football and basketball. Baseball, going to the park. You're not going to the park today. You're not going swimming today until you learn how to do what I asked you to do. So your parents is going to have to be going back to being parents. That's the old school way. Old school still works.
And one of the key things I think about that is discipline.
Yes.
Parents let you know who they were in the house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You knew who they were. Now it may be, well, I don't know what to do with them. Let them know who you are and how important you are in their life.
Right.
I'm a provider for you. I'm a protector for you. I love you. Rather than that mother saying those things to that child, saying the words of affirmation that I love you, I'm concerned about you, I care about you, you look beautiful today. Because we all come in all shapes, sizes, colors, or what have you, but manhood is about, there's a character to it. So how does a child, a boy, develop that character? You just don't walk into it. I got to have something in front of me to give me hope. So that's why I think it's so important for real, if you're going to say you're a man, check the character. Because you're supposed to be a light. You're supposed to be an influence to the community, within the home, whether you're a parent or not. I think when I'm in the store and I see young people, when they looking at you, what do they see about you? If I'm running around just showing them that you can dress any kind of way, say any kind of thing out in public in front of your grandmother and any and everyone else, then they find that acceptable. But it's just certain things, like you say, old school, you did not do. You knew what was going to happen if you did it.
Discipline. Discipline is the key.
And you talk about that, and you mentioned something that I want to target on single parenting homes, and we talked about that beforehand. Seems like in today's society, there are more single family homes than there ever before, especially unfortunately in the African American community. So we got to call a spade a spade, since a lot of the crime we're seeing is black on black crime. And I've heard from some mothers saying it's just too much. I can't handle it. I can't. The father's not around. What do you do in that instance? I mean, I was a single parent for years, 3 children. But I made it happen. I wasn't going to use that excuse that, a dad's not here, so that made me step up even more.
Right.
I've got to make sure that these kids are on the right track and putting people in their lives to help me.
Yes, indeed.
Dad may not be there, but are there men? We all have eyes for the same purpose, regardless of race or whatever, is to see. So putting that child in the atmosphere to see something, to see the hope, to see the visible demonstration. So that's why it's good to talk to them about and get them involved, help in their mind and education stretch by what you get them involved. Don't just wait for them to come to you and say, well, I thought about doing this, doing that. But the time we spend and how we spend it, let them be teachable moments. Everything from watching a TV show, right. How I see it, but how do you see it? And let that be a conversation between a father and son, a mother and daughter, father and daughter. And you will find that at that point, maybe this child, I didn't know they were thinking that way. Mm-hmm. And if you hear great things, give them a pat on the back and let them know you're proud. Because a lot of times they don't hear that, but they're looking for something to make them feel good. And that can be the game. That can be the thing that make them feel accepted.
Right.
But then we go back to the same thing. How do we get these parents to understand that? How do we,
As you indicated, here in America, I think 36% in African American families is a single parent family. 36%. That's not 63, but 36% is a single parent family. And the other, I feel about 55% is cohabitation. Yeah. There's a male in the home, there's a female in the home, and the male in the home may not be the father of those children. That's cohabitation. Let's put it where the goat can get it, Kym. Okay, that's my old term. Let's make it plain. Okay. Let's go back to the pillars of our society. The erosion didn't start yesterday. It started over a period of time. Mm-hmm. Where have we failed? We talk about our beliefs. We talk about our standing within the communities. All of this has the body of Christ. I've been in ministry over 40 years. Let's go back to the body of Christ. We walked away from our responsibilities? Have we not taught what thus said our Creator? What is parenting? What is a father? What is a mother? What is a father's responsibilities? Not just to impregnate someone and say, I got a child here. And this is what we haven't. We got to go back to the root cause of all of our problems. Erosion didn't start last week. It's been coming on us for a while. And we need to address the erosion in our communities. It's not the police department. Let's call a spade a spade. It's not our government. The government is not intended to raise your children. And in Mobile County, we get about $4,000 a year from the state to educate per child. When that child is incarcerated, it's over $30-some thousand a year to incarcerate that person. Why not spend that money, that $30,000 educating
instead of incarcerating?
Thank you. The problem, once again, the barriers out there for these young men today: education, employment. For that mother, it's the same thing. It's health care. If it's not health care, they got to provide for the child. They got to put a roof on that child's head. So our program and Fatherhood Initiative is about helping to remove some of those barriers. Mm-hmm. If there's a health problem, we got family health there through the Mobile County Health Department. If it's education, getting a high school diploma, adult education, we got Bishop State, we got Alabama Career Center. If it's about whatever you need, we're putting the resources there. And we're telling the people about this is what we've been doing for over 10 years. In the 5 years that I've been with the Fatherhood Initiative program, I've seen growth. But change is going to come.
It's going to take time.
Change will come.
And I guess we want it to happen overnight.
Well, I'll say don't walk away from the saying "It's power in words."
Right.
Pick your words and think about the words you use, like value. There are many times that I will ask a young person, do you value your parent? They're quick to say yes, but then we'll go into the behavior of how you deal with the parent, and they come to find values about a fair exchange. Well, did your mom or dad earn that? Do they deserve you lying to them when they're putting clothes on your back, feeding you, doing all these different things? Now, as a young person, let's talk about love, how you can give love back to them because you want it from them, and you're visibly seeing things that they do for you. Not just what I do, but what I hear is holistic. Right. And that's what we got to understand. We can't just box it in one thing. A lot of times it's, I buy you this, I buy you that. That's not love.
No.
Okay? But if that's what you are allowing it to be today and trying to educate this child, that's what it looks like, then that child is going to be caught up in, let me go get these things.
Correct.
But they're still not going to be able to give that love back to whomever they're connected to. So taking those words like love, like discipline, and help them understand that discipline talks about a need.
Right.
So if you want to be if a child tell you their goal is to make the football team, are you disciplined enough to make the football team?
Correct.
I know you're talented, but are you disciplined? Because you want to make the football team, but you won't go in there and take the trash out.
Right.
You won't get off the game, or you won't do this, and you got to have at least a C average to make the team, but you don't want to study. So having those conversations around the word of discipline to help them see discipline goes, I really do need to work on discipline. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the coach is not going to put you out there if you're not disciplined to listen and follow the plays. Mm-hmm. So all that, we have a playbook in this house, and we start right here. I'm your coach. And parents also got to understand that schools are there to assist in the education. It's not there to raise your child.
Correct.
There's that expectation from the parent that I send my child to school, you should be learning, you should be doing. Well, how well have you prepared this child before they were with you 4 or 5 years before they ever stepped foot into a school?
Correct.
So how much education and pouring in did you do with them? I like to think that if I take a thumb drive, put it into a computer, I expect what's on the drive to pop up. Well, then, what are you downloading into the child's head when it concerns what a gentleman is, what a young lady is? If you're not talking about and having these conversations with them, they got all these channels, all this music. You gave them the phone. They got access to go look up and get their own interpretation if you're not trying to give them an understanding about it.
We've got so many of the answers. Again, I guess my question is, what can we do? How can we bring the horse to the well? How can we make them drink the water? I mean, because there's a good program there for parents,
right.
But how can we get them there to start making a difference? Because a lot of them, let's face it, they weren't parented themselves.
Yes.
Like you said, that erosion process.
Yes.
There was a breakdown somewhere, so how can we try to reverse it and turn things around?
Keep telling the story. Keep the message over and over again. I failed. Yes, you failed, but you don't have to wallow in your failure. Let's get up. Let's go on. We keep telling the same story and over again. And one of the things I think that we have failed to do in our society as men is to say, I love you. Mm-hmm. In a way, to our sons. We say it to our daughters, but to our sons and to our children, and explain to them the true meaning of love. Love is saying that my dad had a 3rd grade education, and I never heard him to his 11 children say, I love you, but he showed love. Yeah. There was always a roof over our head. There was always food on the table. The lights was always on. The gas was off. Nothing was ever turned off. I stayed in that house for 18 years, that home for 18 years, and left. But those behind, I never said. But he proved his love to us, and through discipline. That's one of our modules that we teach is discipline, mm-hmm. communication, getting involved, your family history, all these things. Ms. Anderson, we got to continue to tell the story. Listen, yes, you failed, but let's get up.
And
that's not the end of the story. That's not. You can keep going. I had a daughter that was running track one year and hurdles, and I was there watching her. She's doing very good in hurdles, just jumping mm-hmm. and all of a sudden she fell, and she was going to walk off, and I ran to I said, no, get up, you can keep going. And today I look back at her life and I talk to her being mediocre, and so she got a job once because the guy asked her, said, what did you learn in life? She said, my dad told me never to be mediocre in life. He said, well, you got the job. So we got to put principles into our children, small seeds. The seeds is the acorn, The oak tree didn't become an oak tree overnight. It was an acorn. So we got acorns now, but we can shape the sprigs. So I little children, I use the term shaping sprigs now. When a tree is growing, it's growing crooked, you can put something on it to straighten it up.
Yeah.
But once that tree get to a certain age, there's nothing you can do but prune it to cut it down. So these young children, our young people now, they're just sprigs. But we got to make sure we put the right equipment out there to help straighten them up. To put them in prison, it might be a deterrent for a while, for a short period of time. Put them in the youth center, it may be a deterrent for a small period of time.
Is it a deterrent? Because a lot of people I've heard it just teaches them how to be
it may,
better criminals.
The key word, it may be.
But I'll
not
give
always.
an alternative. The Fatherhood Initiative, we can, at age 14, you can be a part of the program.
Right.
So it's a program where you can have a son in the program with his dad, in the program with his granddad.
Right.
And when you take these three gentlemen, and also it's a Fatherhood Initiative, this is male and female.
Correct.
You don't have to be a father or mother. It's about, do I want to learn how to be a better parent? Do I want to learn how to help my relationship work with my child parent? Or, and so it's a program that really focuses on self-awareness.
Yes.
We try to help people, okay, let's talk about you. You can come in here talk about 30 zillion people, but we're not perfect, so where's the weakness that you can work on? Why is it so important? It helps in the development of your child.
Right.
It helps in the development of a child in our community. So if we step up to admit I need that help, maybe I need to reach out to the Fatherhood Initiative program and say, you know what, I like to get my young man, my young lady, or I myself as a parent, or couples may want to just come and partake of the modules. And I guarantee you they'll probably walk away feeling a lot more respect for one another, ready to just really move forward in a positive way. So I would say you got a resource called the Fatherhood Initiative.
Got it.
There are many resources, but here's one. If you have a child 14 or older, get them involved. We have classes, weekly classes. You can contact us and we can set up. Also, it's not just about talking. This is a in-depth. We do everything with visuals and, also the case management that we do. We are really concerned about what do you need. And when that child or when that adult is sitting down with someone who, number one, is trying to hear, what do I need?
Right.
Are you for real? Yeah. What do you need help? Do you need a job? Do you need education?
Right.
What do you need? And find that someone is serious about this.
Right.
That's what the Fatherhood Initiative is. We're serious about really trying to help improve things by helping you see that you got greater value.
And that's important. Now, we're winding out of time here. That 30 minutes goes fast. But we've got a number for you to contact the Fatherhood Initiative, the Mobile County Health Department, that program if you're interested in becoming a better parent or just learning about parenting skills.
Yes.
That's so important right there. That's the number to go through the screen. Make sure that you jot that down. We're also going to have on our website, and you can always rewind this Facebook Live, of course, because it's going to be up on the website. To get that phone number, gentlemen, we could talk here for about a whole nother 30 minutes because there's so much for days about the importance of parenting, and that's one of the major keys here to stopping that violence and getting these kids while they're young, and telling them what's right and what's wrong, making them think. Like you said, go back to old school, even get them back in church.
Yes, I talked about erosion in the beginning. One thing about erosion, it doesn't start overnight; it happens all at once. Okay, but erosion can be corrected. You can put a stop to erosion.
You can.
You can. You can build a bank up, whatever it takes to build that bank back up, build whatever it takes to prevent the erosion. So let's do all we can. That's what Mr. Jones and I are doing. That's what the Mobile County Health Department, that's what all the facilitators are doing. We got individuals who you may not think who's part of our program, like Chief Baptiste, He's one of our facilitators. We got other officers like Lawrence. We got Lawrence Hicks out there, Curtis Gray, the commander of Community Initiative, who's our program manager. Who helped us. And so we got Jonathan Law, who's a captain in the police department. When young men see these individuals come in, the first thing he's a policeman. No, I'm here to help.
That's the key thing. They're coming in and they want to help.
They want to help you. So when you see individuals who working in the community, back in the community from a different side, and these are fathers. These are men and women, and the young women that we encounter in our classes. I'm so happy to have them in there because the young men can hear it from a female perspective, what she's looking for in a man, not just someone to come in and say, "Thank you, ma'am." So, someone to come in and say, "Listen, this is what love is all about." So, thank you for your time. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you for coming. Like I said, we could talk for another 30
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
I hate that we're out of time. Actually, we've gone over. So I hate that we're out of time. But gentlemen, I'm definitely going to have you back on. We're going to talk about, because this is a conversation that really needs to be really needs to be had on a continual basis to remind people the importance of being a parent and the difference that it can make in a child's life, the difference it can make in our community. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another Targeting the Violence series. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.